move on now to Derek Carr and the New York Football Jets. So earlier this week, the Jets had an interview with Carr, and now Aaron Rodgers is finally coming out that darkness retreat from Oregon, where he had time to contemplate some decisions, what he wants to do next in his NFL career. Does he want to play moving on after this last season or last couple of years? And so, Justin, I think the big question here is, should the Jets wait and maybe hold down a Derek Carr signing to see the potential reward of Aaron Rodgers? Or should they just sign Carr outright knowing what Rodgers is thinking, what his decision is going to be, is a total unknown?
That's the tough situation here is because you just never know what rabbit Aaron Rodgers is going to pull out of his hat. On one end, I think we can all agree if Derek Carr was suited up in a Jets uniform this past season, they probably make the playoffs pretty easily. They're probably an 11, 12 win team with that defense. But are they a Super Bowl team? Do you view Derek Carr as a Super Bowl caliber quarterback? I'll tell you a report that I'm reading from Diana Rossini. The Jets believe that if Derek Carr comes to New York, he can be a first ballot Hall of Famer if he wins. I think that's a bit extreme when we have never seen Derek Carr perform in the biggest stage. We've never seen him in those biggest moments. And while, yeah, he has led the Raiders to the playoffs, we've never seen anything spectacular. And then you're here gambling the thought of, okay, I can get Derek Carr, who hasn't proven himself in the playoffs, and then I can get a top 5 quarterback of all time in Aaron Rodgers potentially, even if that's for 2 years. You make that move because at least Zach Wilson sits behind the guy and learns. You can't let Aaron Rodgers go by the wayside. If you got the opportunity to make that move and put your team in a position to make a Super Bowl run or at least contend for one, you make that move.
I think it should be a no-brainer. A lot of people look at Derek Carr and they say, kind of like Matthew Stafford in Detroit, if you put him in an environment that has the defense, has the receiver, has the running game, he'll take his game up a level. But this AFC is a lot different than the NFC of years past. We have 7 to 8 elite quarterbacks. Like, you think of Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, even Kenny Pickett developing in Pittsburgh, before you think of Derek Carr winning a playoff game with the Jets. Now, their window is kind of short because their defense, it's a couple of years until they have to start to pay guys. But Derek Carr is not going to lead you to the AFC Championship game. We've seen him play in one playoff game against the Bengals, and the defining moment of that game was him throwing short of the sticks with the game on the line, on third or fourth down. And in the regular season last year, he didn't have an O-line, and we saw him really struggle in cold weather. In New York, where is he going to be playing? Buffalo, New England, Miami in the heat. In the regular season, I mean, getting Derek Carr would have last season made him a 12, 13 win team. But in the playoffs, he does not raise your ceiling that much. Sure, relative to Zach Wilson, he does. But the bar there is the 40th best quarterback, maybe the 40th. That might be a stretch here in the entire NFL. So if I'm the Jets, I'm taking a shot here and seeing if I can get Rodgers or 2 first-round picks. And if I don't, I'm falling back on Jimmy Garoppolo and seeing the draft if I can trade up to get a quarterback on a rookie contract, which to a lot of people may sound kind of unorthodox, right? Because even Lamar Jackson is available. But we know what it takes to beat we know what it takes to beat Patrick Mahomes today. That's finding a quarterback on a rookie contract that's making nothing for 4 years, not paying Derek Carr $37 million trying to lead you to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a lot for me. And while I understand the move, I understand getting yourself a vet like him because he does improve this team immediately if he joins the squad. But the point is, if you're going to pay a quarterback that much money, your mindset is Super Bowl. Your mindset isn't, let me get into the playoffs with 11 wins. No. Yeah, there's, like you said, the AFC is loaded. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. The list goes on. Lamar Jackson, the list goes on and on. And you're telling me Derek Carr is going to rise above all of them? I mean, sure, Joe Flacco did it in the AFC a long, long time ago. So I guess
He did.
there is always that 1 year that can happen. And I don't want this to sound like I'm knocking Derek Carr whatsoever because I've picked him to win games in the regular season against Patrick Mahomes. But that's the thing. That's the regular season. This is a totally different animal. Has he ever got even past a wild card round? No. So we haven't even seen him in a divisional round. We haven't seen him in a conference championship. So it's just that's a big if. I feel like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a big if because you just don't know how committed he is to actually playing football or being committed to your franchise, how he'll be. But at least you know what you're getting on the football field. You know what you can get, and you know the possibilities of what you can get when you're in the playoffs. With Derek Carr, you just don't know that.
Yeah, if you get Derek Carr and it doesn't work out, you say, okay, we shot too low, and we should have expected that. If it doesn't work with Aaron Rodgers, you say we took a shot and it didn't work out, but the shot was well worth it. It's the top four quarterback of all time that a year
Yeah.
ago won an MVP in a less than desirable circumstance. I just look at Garrett Wilson and how great he was as a rookie. Put him up with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that makes you a Super Bowl contender instantly. It puts you
Yeah.
above a team like Buffalo, and it makes you the best team in your division. That's one of the best divisions in football. Now, in the AFC hierarchy, it gives you a real chance to beat Kansas City, and a real one that you didn't have before. Now, what would be, I mean, what would be the best destination for Derek Carr, you think?
Mm. I think it would be a team in the NFC South. I could see him if
Big
he had
time.
wound up in a place like Tampa Bay. That'd be perfect with those weapons, Mike Evans, Godwin. I still need a run game, but
Hmm.
ultimately, that's a team that I feel like would be ready to win immediately if you throw in a Derek Carr.
I think it would be Carolina. Todd
Really?
Bowles is not a great head coach, but Frank Reich is a pretty good one. And that Panthers team has built a better and better offensive line through the years. They have good weapons that are up and rising. The defense doesn't have too many holes. I think the Panthers would be a 10-win team, and they would have a better chance of winning a playoff game next year than the Jets with Derek Carr because of how much easier it is to win in that conference. I mean, the best quarterbacks are Hurts, Kyler, who's going to be playing maybe 5 games, and then Matthew Stafford, who's got both an elbow and a neck injury or a spine injury.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, Derek Carr in Carolina, I think that'd be great for both sides.
Yeah, no, Carolina's actually not a bad fit. I didn't even think about that honestly. We clowned that team because Brandon was so high on them going into the season, but they actually towards the end of it they started to find a little bit of momentum. Sam Darnold didn't look terrible, even though the last week wasn't fantastic. But for the most part, that last stretch, he was playing good football. Carolina looked like the football team that he had hope in. So yeah, if you throw in a quarterback like Derek Carr, that's instant improvement. I think any NFC South team would benefit from him. So best fits, yeah, sure, Carolina or Tampa Bay. I don't think New Orleans is necessarily ready. I think that team has since Sean Payton left has just boom slowly going down. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, yeah. Kamara should be out of that place soon too. Ah, that's a tough spot for the Saints because I think he visited them twice, if I'm not mistaken, and they went well. Stay away
Going
from
to
New
the,
Orleans.
going to the team with the quarterback in the hot seat, shaky defense, cap problems, shaky offensive line is a lot less desirable in my eyes
Hmm.
for him long term because he wants to go to a place that's going to value him, and I think that'd be the Panthers before the Jets.
Definitely. Well, let's see. I hope Aaron Rodgers does go to New York. That'll be it. It takes me back. We spoke about the Brooklyn Nets not too long ago, and I said when you have an opportunity to put your franchise on that pedestal and you get those star players, you do it. You don't miss that opportunity. You take that opportunity over and over again. This is your time for the Jets. If a quarterback like that comes in on the market, you can't sit back and wait because you know what? Tampa Bay does not regret going all in after Tom Brady. Denver does not regret going all in on Peyton Manning. We're talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time as well. You do not miss your chance because guess what? If you sit on your hands and you let Aaron Rodgers go anywhere else, you'll be watching the success that you could have had. Don't swing and miss.